Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I am going to try my first ever Drypoint etching. Now, I did a previous video on the materials and my plan. This one I'm going to try to go through with it. This is more just experimental and me trying out a process. So don't look at it as a tutorial, just look at it as an experiment. But I believe that there are people going out there with this exact thing. In fact, this is all inspired by Drypoint, Dipparkhouse on Instagram. A short video that they uploaded that was really inspirational. So, without further ado, we'll go through it and see what I can learn and figure out. My first thing is that I have a can of Coca-Cola, a soda can, that I am cutting and clearing up the edges. You want to be super careful whenever cutting any type of metal. You're going to get these shards and pieces that fly all over the place, so please be careful. Wearing gloves may help prevent cutting yourself. Now, I believe the person that I'm referencing, I'm not sure how they got their can to lay flat. If taping down would help, or bending it back and creating a nice hard edge and folding it around something would help. I think that's what the person did before they put it through a press, but I won't be using a press, and I don't have any hard material on hand that would have that. I'm thinking maybe an old book cover that's not being used anymore could be cut to size, and you can wrap it around like that. I'm also considering taping it down or putting something flat and heavy on it. We'll just do taping during the etching, and we'll see if that helps it mellow out. So I have some Gorilla Tape, and I'm going to tape it on top of a clear sheet. I'm not going to tape it to the wood. The reason I'm using the clear sheet is that if I wind up having to keep it taped down and doing the printing process with the tape there, I think I'll have to watch out for the wetting of the paper process. So that's just something to watch out for down the line. Okay, so in future experiments, definitely put a book on top to keep it weighted down. All right. While this sits, I'm going to sit that on top. Get my etching tool. It does seem to be coated in some sort of oil. In fact, the Amazon account that I bought it from, somebody said don't buy covered in disgusting liquid, and I'm assuming that it's coated in oil because it has to go through a cutting process, and you have to prevent the rusting. Today was the first day back at work. I'm a school teacher. The first day you do a lot of talking to the kids and telling about all the rules in the class and everything and getting to know them. So my voice is a little, on top of being froggy, is a little hoarse now. And okay, so I'm just wiping off those excess machining oils. That's fine. Both ends are sharpened to a point. I don't have any type of grinding machinery, but I think if any point does wear down, I could probably bring it to my friends, and they might have just a little grinding wheel I can hit the edges with and sharpen it to a point, or a sharpening stone might work as well. For this sketch, for this etching, I want to use one of the Steinlen cats. So I'm going to get a picture of those to sketch from. All right, so now I'm going to get to the sketching stage, or the etching stage. I'm not really going to get too detailed and experimental just yet. I just want to kind of feel out the overall process. That being said, I talked about other materials you can use. I think you could even etch into this clear plastic sheet. The clear objects, you can put it over whatever image you want to work from and sketch on top of that. And I'm sure there's a way to transfer images onto the metal to scrape from there. I'm not sure if Sharpies would take or if oil pencils would work. I just never used this medium or sketched on metal. So I'm just going to kind of go to town and experiment. Not really sure how deep one's supposed to sketch and etch. This material etches really easily. So this is the inside of a aluminum can. Honestly, it's like taking a pencil is just making your marks. Let's just do a cat facing away from us. I think I had sketched this view from the Steinland books in a few different materials, played around in Conte and charcoal. It scrapes really easily. I'm curious the level of detail one can get. There is the lino cuts, which I think is a relief etching, and there's somebody in Lafayette that's been doing a lot of them recently, Mr. Bob Borrell, and it's inspiring, but the cut style just isn't to my my style of art. So I'm wondering if this more line etching would be too much towards my style. I just never took a printmaking class. I'm sure cross hatching, there's probably a lot that you could do there. There's probably a lot we could do with scuffing up the material as well. I think that's all I want to do. Just leave a simple sketch, simple marks. We'll take it from there. Okay, so I am going to pause the camera while I prep my ink. All right, so I just kind of shook the ink by hand. It said that it might settle the pigment. So hopefully that is good. It also says on it, dry through absorption, they will not dry on the printing plate. So let's see. Just gonna lift the lid up, see what it looks like. Looks like there's some type of lid. I did read that people said it doesn't dry to the air, so you can leave the lid open and you don't really have to worry. I'm going to wind up just grabbing some ink and then I'm going to close it, because with Hammy, Hammy trying to jump on the art desk all the time, I know that he would wind up coming flying. So I'm going to scoop some out, see if that's enough, and I'll just close this and get it out the way. I really didn't know how much to expect in a container, and I'm probably being frugal with the quantity, but we'll see how much I need. So I'm gonna pass this over my image, over my plate. I am personally being careful since I'm working with the aluminum and the edges are sharp, but I didn't fold it back or anything. I believe what we do here is just kind of spread it out. Now, one of the negatives, and this goes back to the fact that I'm using a curved piece of metal and I didn't flatten it, is that since I have it taped down, I have areas that aren't getting covered. And I think that ultimately you want it kind of completely covered. And I'll finish that thought for people that are going to say, no, you're wrong. I think that you want it initially completely covered, because when you wipe back, you then leave little small trace amounts in other spots if you want, just for a little bit of extra pizzazz. But we'll cross that bridge later on. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here, I guess. Okay. Bag of potatoes. I think the whole point is that you don't want to use anything that has like an absorption property, and you move it around to get it into those grooves that we cut out. So the whole point is to kind of get it in there. And I'm just kind of flying blind right now. I'm not sure if this is the right way or not, because I no longer see my undercut image or what's going on. I'll try to zoom in whenever I edit this video and crop it so you guys can see better what's going on in front of me. But I am just as blind as you are right now with this, because I have no idea if I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to throw this bag in a Ziploc just to hold on to it and get it out the way so I don't get ink everywhere from it. I am now going to grab some copy paper. I think people are using newsprint for this stage, and this is to kind of buff back the on-etched areas, because I think something absorbent like a paper towel would pull it out of those etched marks. So we're trying to rub it into those spots while also now removing it from excess spots. How long we do this for, I'm not sure. And I'm assuming that this step would then be up to the artist to see how they want those other things to take place. As you can see, I have a build-up around the tape, so that's what I kind of anticipated earlier. I mentioned that the taping issue would cause that line there and not a complete coverage. And hopefully very soon I get another newspaper thrown on my yard. I don't know where they come from. I'm not signed up for newspaper. I'm guessing the ink is in the cuts. We'll have to see. Alongside me, I'm soaking the paper towel, the paper in water in a bowl. In a few minutes, we'll get the next step. Grab this, kind of wipe off that excess, make it somewhat clean looking. Okay, so at this point I still have a lot on the plate around the etchings. I'm not sure if I pulled out of the etchings correctly. I'm going to lay my paper on top of it. I'm going to dab some of the excess water off of it. And then we'll see if we can successfully, you can see how like soaked the paper is. We're just dabbing it dry. And the whole point is the wet is more malleable and should pull the ink out more. Hopefully that's enough. It's all just trying to learn based off of online text and some videos. I'm just going to plop this right on there. Plop. I'm going to put a piece of copy paper on top. This will be kind of like a blotter paper. And then I need to find a hard spoon or a hard edge to rub that down. Let me pause for a second. We'll use the back of this brush. I think you would want probably a thicker piece, maybe a piece of cardboard between this instead of this paper, like the paper and then the cardboard, to prevent the pilling from taking place, because this paper is going to get wet and probably start tearing. And no idea if anything I'm doing is going to work. I could probably be more methodical. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera and grab something to put on top of this. Alright, I grabbed the in-camera darkroom print and a spoon. And hopefully this is enough. Let's just peel it up and see. And if it's not there, then we'll try again. And move the paper out the way. Hopefully our image is on the other side. Okay, so with my first attempt, all the ink that I smeared around is there. No sign of the cat. So I think that this would be considered a monoprint first and foremost, because it's just one image. I wouldn't be able to recreate this. Second, I'm not sure if I need to push the ink in more, scratch deeper, or what. So we're gonna try round two. Sorry that it wasn't super eventful, the result, but this is how we learn. So we're gonna jump into part two. I'm gonna try again. All right. Thanks for watching, and bye.